Oh look! More questions to answer, this time really from an atheist. Really, I promise. Today, I take a look at 10 questions asked by fellow atheist and YouTuber DallasWade, someone that I follow, and if you like the content that I make, you might want to go take a look at his channel. So anyhow, he has some questions and I, as always, have some answers. So let's match them up and see what's what as I go to town answering 10 more questions.
Hey, what's up? I'm DallasWade, and welcome back to another worship service. If you saw my last video, I responded to 10 questions for atheists from an atheist.
Hey, so did I! Amazing that!
And after I responded to that video, I watched several other people's answers to the same video, and I was really interested in seeing other people's opinions and answers to these questions, and it really got me thinking of other questions that I wanted to hear other atheists answer. So I decided to compose my own 10 questions and put them in a video, and anyone who's interested can answer them. So without any delay, here are 10 questions for atheists from an atheist.
I'm on board, but then again, I really like answering questions, and doing the same old tired garbage from the religious gets tedious over time, so anything to break the monotony. Besides, I think that a lot of the questions from atheists are more interesting than the "why don't you believe in my imaginary friend" nonsense from the religious. So go for it, Dallas. Let's see what you've got.
What religion were you once a part of, and what compelled you to first question its validity?
Well, at one time I was a Missouri Synod Lutheran, and I was really serious about it. Now, I've told the story before in some detail, so I won't do it again here, but I will link to the video where I went through it in the description for anyone who's interested. The short version is that I left Christianity because it didn't stand up to rational evaluation, and I decided that it was more important for me that my beliefs be true than that they be comforting. And as soon as I set my feelings aside and started looking at the facts, trying to verify the things that I believed independently, the whole thing fell apart.
What finally convinced you that you were an atheist?
Well, not believing in any gods, obviously, but I really don't know when I started attaching that label to it. It wasn't like one day I said, "well, I'm a Christian," and the next day I said, "hey, I'm an atheist." Even though I stopped believing, I don't really know that I made the mental switch to atheism as a label. I just didn't believe anymore. I mean, I knew what atheism was, at least conceptually, but it doesn't seem to me that I associated my non-belief with that label, at least at the beginning. You know, it's kind of hard to remember. I've been an atheist for nearly twice as long as I was a Christian, so it's kind of difficult to keep how I felt back then straight. But I think that the label atheist came later.
How have you been treated by your family and others after you became an atheist?
Fine. Now, I know I've talked about this before as well, but most of my family were closet unbelievers of one sort or another anyhow. They were just going through the motions, but I don't think they really believed any of it. It was really just my mother who was really into the religion thing. Again, I think at least because that's how she was raised, and it was part of her cultural identity. Of everyone in the family, I was the only one that really seemed to take the whole thing seriously. I read the Bible, went to church a lot, all that. Everyone else, at least in retrospect, I think seemed to sit in a pew once a week out of obligation, not because of actual individual interest. And once I said that I didn't believe it anymore, it was almost like a collective sigh of relief that they knew they didn't have to play along anymore. And even my mother, who really believed at least the core principles of the religion, once I left, she hasn't stepped foot in a church except for funerals since, at least that I know of. And other people, I really don't care. Yes, I did lose friends once I left the church. But it didn't bother me. That was their decision, not mine. If they can't accept me as I am, then who needs them anyhow?
Are you open to religion? And what sort of evidence would one need for you to subscribe to it?
Conceptually, yes. I am open to a religion being true, but I would only buy into it if it could be shown objectively and evidentially to be factually correct, which I think we all know isn't likely to happen. I think that if any of the world's religions were going to be proven to be true, it would have happened by now. But because they haven't, and seemingly cannot be demonstrated to be correct, I see no reason to take them at all seriously, and therefore can look at the harm that religion does, harm that might be overlooked by those who care only about how their beliefs make them feel. That's why I've been running the religious horror show for years over on my blog, looking at all those cases of priestly sex abuse, religious terrorism, faith-based murder, and all of the harm that religion does to the world, and why we'd all be better off without it.
Would you date or marry someone who was religious? Do you have religious friends?
I'll answer the second first. I've had religious friends in the past, none of whom are currently religious. Now, I don't take credit for that, although we have had a lot of religious debates over the years, and hopefully that planted the seeds of skepticism, but all of them have, over time, distanced themselves from religion and religious beliefs. So no religious friends, at least not that I'm aware of. For the first, I really don't think that having a religious significant other, especially not a strongly religious significant other, is a good idea for the atheist, especially for a vocal atheist like myself. Because religion pervades the life of the believer. It's a creeping mind poison that infects and infests every aspect of life, no matter how much the believer might try to keep it out. So whether you like it or not, no matter how many promises your partner makes not to let their religion affect your relationship, it will. It always does. And the more seriously they take it, the worse it will be. It will affect your children. It will affect your finances. It will affect how you spend your time together. And if they think they have to save your soul, it's going to be even worse. So I don't recommend it at all. It's just not worth it, at least from my personal perspective. And that's why my wife is an atheist, and so are my kids. It's just easier that way.
What is your favorite religion or mythology, if you have one, and why?
I don't really have any favorites because I think they're all equally stupid. I mean, I can appreciate some of the mythic traditions of the Greeks and Romans because their gods were largely squabbling children that didn't even try to hide their human origins. They might have a lot of power, but they all act like your crazy Uncle Murray.
What gives your life meaning?
I do. We are all responsible for creating meaning and purpose in our own lives. If you can't do that, if you have to have some meaning imposed on you from some external source, then you have problems. I mean, serious problems. But lots of people are intellectually lazy. They don't want to have to think about the big questions. They want everything handed to them in a nice, convenient gift-wrapped package that they can keep on the shelf and never think about. It's just there so they can feel good about having those answers, even if the answers are complete nonsense. And I really don't respect people like that.
What should the goal of humankind be?
If humanity is to have a singular goal beyond mere survival, I would say discovery. Find out as much as we can about the universe we inhabit and use that knowledge to advance our own existence. Make our lives better. Improve on the health and welfare of humanity and the other creatures that we encounter. Seek to know as much as we can know and figure out how to differentiate between reality and fantasy. If we can't do that, what's the point of being here at all?
Do you believe in the paranormal or any sort of mystical realm?
No, I'm not insane. There is no evidence for anything supernatural, paranormal, mystical, or religious. For any question that has ever been asked in the history of mankind, the demonstrable answer has never been God or ghosts or spirit energy or anything like that. It's always been something material, something understandable, something that we can comprehend and test and evaluate rationally. So why would I believe in something for which there is no evidence? It makes no sense to me.
If you could recommend one single book to a religious person, what would it be and why?
Now, I know a lot of people might say things like The God Delusion or something by Sam Harris or Dan Dennett, but honestly, I'd like the religious to read their own holy books from a critical and skeptical perspective. Because the fastest way to become an atheist is to understand what a load of irrational bunk religion wants to shove into your head. Read the Bible or the Quran or the Vedas or whatever, cover to cover. Don't just believe what it says, but ask yourself why. Where did it come from? Why does it say what it says? Why should anyone take it seriously? Can it be independently verified? Is there objective evidence that corroborates these claims? And if not, why not? If you can do that, honestly do that, and still maintain your beliefs, then I don't know what to tell you.
So that's my 10 questions for atheists, and if any of you make a video response to these questions, be sure to leave a comment down below so me and anyone interested can go check out your answers.
Okay, here's my video response, which I will of course leave in the comments. And for anyone watching this video who wants to answer these questions, you can either leave your answers on my video right here, or on his video, which is in the description. Make sure you do that.
And remember, I don't require you to cut off your foreskin or be dunked in water. All you have to do is click that subscribe button and you'll be a part of this community.
Those were actually some really good questions, and as I said, a breath of fresh air considering the kind of passive-aggressive nonsense we typically get from the religious. Now, I'm not one of those people who thinks that there is an atheist community, or should be. I think that if we're going to join together, we ought to do so for reasons that we share, not for things that we reject. But I think that sharing ideas, even if we're not part of some mythical community, is good for people, so we can see that we're not alone. And more today than ever, atheists are not only not alone, but we are rapidly becoming a force to be reckoned with in the world. The religious are running scared of us. Just look at how many apologists are making videos ostensibly talking to the non-believer. They're terrified of us, and we're growing while they're shrinking. Let's use this opportunity to do some good in the world and maybe undo some of the evil that religion has done over the centuries. So thanks to Dallas for asking some interesting and thought-provoking questions. Run over and subscribe to his channel like I have. He makes some really good content. So until next time, please think, please reason, please care if what you allow into your head is actually true. It's the only way to improve your own mental health and root out the religious mind poison. And that only makes us all better as a whole.